Hey, I'm on the opposite side now.
Here we go. And I still got up. Oh, welcome to the Jay and Margot show, where we keep it real, raw, and respectful.
There you go.
Tonight, we have joining us Sonny and Justine Medina. They are a married couple. You guys have been married for 27 years, been
Yep.
together for 34.
Mhm.
Woo! And you guys have a daughter who is 24 years old.
Yep.
You've been an entrepreneur for 22 of those years,
Mhm.
and you've been bookkeeper for 30 years. Wow. Well, thank you for joining us on the
Thank you for
on
having
the
us.
show.
Yeah.
And let's see if we're having technical difficulties or not. Yes, we are live. If looks like we have one viewer. Can you go and check the volume, please, to make sure that we are being heard? That
Sure.
the mic checks. Mic checks. Yeah, no sense in talking if
No
nobody
sense in
can hear
talking.
us.
We good? All right.
We're good. All right. Well, again, thank you for joining us. And tonight we are talking about how to build healthy marriages. So thank you for coming and going to be candid about your relationship.
Yep.
Wow. So you guys are actually youth pastors
Mhm.
at the church that I attend, and you have 3 of my teenagers in your
Yep.
class. Thank you for joining us late notice. We did have another couple that had to bow out. They had other things that popped up. So thank you for that.
Yeah,
I
no problem.
appreciate it. And when I found out that news, I had to get somebody real quick. I was telling my kids, man, help me think of who I can ask. I want somebody who's been married for some time, went through some issues and come out on the other side better than ever. And they brought up both of you.
Okay.
Yeah. So thank you for that. And so right off the bat, give us a little bit of your guys' backstory, because you guys have only been married for 27 and you've been together for 34.
Mhm.
So like, when you were dating, like how old were you guys? Well, don't say how old, but like, was it like early 20s, late 20s when you guys first met and started dating? And that dating phase, did you feel like before you got married that you really knew who you were marrying?
I can let
You
you
wanna
go if you
start?
want. Yeah, I mean, we started dating in high school, juniors in high school. Um, I think we both had prior relationships, and everyone always told us that we should date for some reason. They always thought we'd make a cute couple. And I
Okay.
mean, that's something that we've heard, in junior high school and high school. And
And that's super important that people thought you guys would be compatible together.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep. And so we started dating in 11th grade, 16 years old. And
Wow.
we of course we didn't get married until 7 years later. But I mean, after a year or so, I knew that she was the one for me. I don't know if she felt that way about me, but I for sure knew.
Okay.
Yeah.
When we first were in high school together, I could not stand him. He'd walk around and he would belch and he would just like, I'm like, this guy is so rude. I'm like, and but then we got to become friends and I got to know him and he was really sweet and he was so then I was like, okay, I think I could see myself with him. So that's when we started dating and but we started out as friends.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
That's good.
Yeah,
So,
that was important.
so then, like you said, 7 years later, then you got married. But during that time after high school, did either of you guys go off like to college? Was there any long distance part of that relationship, or you guys were both
Nope. We
constantly
lived
seeing
with
each
our
other?
parents until we got married. I
Okay.
went to Saginaw Valley. She went to Saginaw Valley. So no, yeah, we never. I mean, there was a time when we did take a break. I think maybe a year or so. But I think we both realized that we missed each other and
Okay.
reunited. And
And what was the reason for the break during that time?
My mom had passed away,
Oh,
so
yes.
emotionally I was just like I just didn't know, like I didn't want to be with anybody, but did I want to be with somebody? And I just and he loved me from afar. He was patient with me, and I do appreciate that,
Oh,
because
that's
I would have missed
awesome.
out on somebody
A
spectacular.
good one.
Right.
Real good one.
You know, and that shows commitment.
Mhm.
Prior to coming, I hurried up and Googled top 5 reasons why marriages fail. And it's no secret on this podcast that I have been married multiple times and divorced multiple times. So I know reasons why people
Okay.
get divorced.
Mhm.
But for everybody else out there, it says top 5 reasons are poor communication, infidelity, lack of commitment, abuse, and financial problems.
Okay.
So even prior to being married, you showed that commitment.
He did.
Yeah,
Mhm.
to her, and that is huge.
He waited.
Yeah, and like for me, I know they say you shouldn't ever compare your marriage to somebody else's because no two relationships are the same.
Right.
Even my prior marriages, I can't compare those, because every person's different. But my parents were married 50 plus years.
Okay.
So I
Wow.
saw the commitment.
Mhm.
I remember the good and bad times,
Mhm.
And so when I look for what I want my marriage to look like, that commitment was huge to me.
Okay. Yeah.
So I know prior to this, my kids are telling me a little backstory. Like during your marriage, they always say there's a honeymoon phase.
Mhm.
And because you guys knew each other for so long prior to getting married, did you guys go through a honeymoon stage still?
I mean, I do remember when we got married, I felt like it was strange, like we were doing something wrong because I'm like, everything feels the same. I just felt like you're spending the night.
And you felt like it was wrong because you never lived with the boy before.
So I was like, this is strange. But I have always told them throughout our entire marriage, I don't want to be that couple. I don't want to be that couple that they just roommates.
Yes.
I don't want to be roommates. I don't want to go to a restaurant and eat my food and you eat your food. You're on your phone, Mom. I've always almost demanded it. I want to be in love. I don't want to just love you, but I want to feel like in love, And so we, from forever, it seems like that throughout our whole marriage that we are. I know my daughter rolls her eyes and stuff all the time because we're just always touching each other and kissing.
Yes.
And for me, I don't think that we've ever gone like the honeymoon phase. I still feel like I feel like he's my boyfriend.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I don't think we ever went
awesome.
through that where, we hear about going through the honeymoon phase and it fizzles out. No, I don't think we've ever experienced that. We didn't like have a real high and a low point in our marriage. We were pretty steady, I think, compared to a lot of other people that we've seen get married.
Right.
I heard one person say one time, "Well, we made it a year. I can't believe we did it, but we made it. We made it a year." I'm like, "Oh my goodness!"
Right.
No, we never had that kind of problem. I don't think.
Oh, that's great
Mhm.
because I recall in one of my marriages we had that roommate phase,
Okay.
and I felt like a single parent in the marriage. I'm sure you guys have heard, being pastors and whatnot, have heard people say stuff
Yeah.
like that as well.
Mhm.
But that's awesome that you guys are still displaying that physical affection. Now, was that easy for both of you? Because there's that thing called the 5 love languages. Everybody feels loved in different ways.
Mhm.
We have the same love language. We both touch, like
Physical touch
we
is
like
yours.
physical touch.
Okay.
And I think that's helpful. in
Oh,
our
big
marriage
time, yes.
Because I'm not like huge on gifts. Like he can buy me. He will go to the store and he'll bring me like a candy bar or he'll bring me like paper towels, and I get excited about that. But mine is like touch me, hug me, hold me.
Yeah.
And he's the same way. My thing is, and it's gonna be weird for everybody. I'm always when we're by each other, I touch his ears all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't see anybody else do that, but that's just we both have that's our love language.
That's awesome. And
I think for me, I was like very sensitive about my big ears when I was a kid because people always made fun of me. And then we started dating. She grabbed my ear one time. I'm like, I almost reacted like, and then I was like, oh, this feels kind of good actually.
oh, she
So,
likes
yeah.
my ears.
Yeah, so I let her touch my ears since then.
Well, for 34 years
Yep,
together, I
yep.
hope so. So that you say that that you don't feel like you've lost that. Was there ever a point in your marriage where you guys hit a hard spot and felt like giving up?
Um,
I think the only hard spots we were ever really occurred between the two of us were financial. It
mhm.
wasn't our relationship or commitment or communication. We had some really tough days financially, and didn't know if we were going to survive those. But as far as our relationship, no. I think we came together as a team more than anything else when we did incur those financial difficulties. And 2008, that was 2009. When the Great Recession hit again, it was
Mhm.
very difficult for us. I had
Yes.
just left my job at General Motors,
Wow.
and we lent some people some money. They never paid it back,
Wow.
and it got tough for us. And I had opened up my business. Business wasn't doing so well at the time because of the recession. So I think that, but our relationship, no, our relationship's always been strong.
Okay, that's great.
Hmm.
And, like I said, one of the top 5 reasons was the finances.
Hmm.
And I know a lot of people that I've spoken to, that a lot of the spouses will have their finances separate.
Hmm.
And, Dave Ramsey,
Mhm.
the thing,
Yeah,
he had made a statement that if your finances are separate, you're not building together. It's not like a true marriage.
sure.
Oh.
So how, like, even though the struggle was there, um, being on the same page, how did you guys maintain being on the same page and not allowing those kind of struggles cause a rift between the 2 of you? Or what did your rifts look like? Like, did you guys have to give space to get on the same page at any time? Like,
No, I think we just struggled together, and be honest with you. We both felt bad.
mhm,
I think the main concerns were food, obviously.
mhm,
Um, Olivia, she went to Peace Lutheran, which is a private school.
Mhm.
We never missed a tuition payment or anything. I got behind in other things, never a house payment. Um, and we just kind of made it work. We knew what we didn't have, and but priority was our daughter and her education at that time. That was
yes,
the main thing, and our faith in Jesus, that that we can't give up on him, we can't give up on this and our marriage and anything. So continuing and walking in faith with each other, that's ultimately what got us through,
that's
for
awesome.
sure.
I mean,
Hmm.
I cried. I was like, what are we gonna do? Like, we need groceries and we need and then our daughter was dancing at the time. And so I was like, what are we gonna do? Or like, are we gonna pull her from dance? And we wanted to trust in God, but at the same time, I'm like, well, okay, but is he gonna drop a check off to us? Are we gonna be able to get groceries, put
Right.
gas in the car? But honestly, he was my rock. He was like, we're gonna get through this, remember? And I'm like, okay, okay, I'll trust in God. But I did, you know, I had fear. I was nervous what was gonna happen.
Sure.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
especially for women, that financial security is huge,
Hmm.
So from what I'm hearing is that, like you said, he was your rock.
Hmm.
He was giving you that reassurance.
Yes,
And a lot of times that's what women need all across the board,
right.
is that reassurance that it's going to be okay. Even though if you're going through a hard time, just knowing that it's going to be okay. Like you said,
Right.
that we're together on
Hmm.
this. We've actually had more people join. Thank you everybody for joining us. Again, we are here with Sunny and Justine Medina, and they have been married for 27 years. So we do have the live chat going on. So if you have any kind of questions about how to build a healthy marriage, drop them in the chat so you can get them answered by people who've been through it together. Um, so the other thing on there was fidelity.
Hmm.
If you missed it, pulled up, I had Googled what were the top 5 reasons why marriages fail. Lack of communication, financial hardships, infidelity, um, lack of commitment, and abuse was another one. But let's talk about the infidelity part. Where is there, a lot of people like to say that you can have opposite sex friendships.
Hmm.
um, I in my first marriage, I did. I had a group of guys that I would go to lunch with and meet up for happy hour after, and I didn't have no issues there. But I do know a lot of people, but I had boundaries,
Mhm.
my own personal boundaries. But I do know a lot of people that's the gateway to affairs. And that's how infidelity starts. How did you guys manage through that? Do you guys have opposite sex friendships? What are your boundaries around those kinds of things?
I don't have any. I had I had a friend in high school, and then we were really close, best friends. And um, I was really close with him. And then, but I knew once we got engaged that I knew that I wasn't going to be able to like have lunch with him or hang out with him or anything anymore. And I explained it to him, and he understood. But we have always told each other that if we feel like we are going to stray from each other, then we need to sit down and have the hard talk. Like, I haven't done anything yet, but I'm developing feelings for this person. And I just want to let you know, like, and we'll deal with it from there before we actually do anything. So that's kind of been our pact since we've been married.
And that is huge. I'm glad you guys said that
Mhm.
because I have voiced that to my partners. And I don't think a lot of people think that that's a real thing.
Right.
That you can have that trust in that relationship. Like, I'm not going to hold it against you.
Yeah.
Or that won't start an argument. But like our marriage, our commitment's in danger here. Let's talk about this.
Right.
Yeah. Mhm.
So that I applaud you guys for that. And like, even like you said, you had that conversation with your opposite sex friend that this is going to have boundary. I got boundaries. Was that something you guys discussed prior to being engaged?
I don't remember that conversation, to be honest with you. I never really had a lot of whole friends. I'm not like a real popular person, I guess, but I've never had any friends that were girls, anyways. So
Okay.
all my friends, if the handful that I have, they've always been guys. So that wasn't. She's much more popular than me.
No.
So
I had a lot of guy friends.
yeah.
I had a
Uh-huh.
lot of guy friends. Not everybody, but there was a specific person that we were really close friends. Like when we had Sonny and I had our on and off breakups or whatever when we were 16 or so, and we broke. Because he broke up with me first because we we're going out 3 months.
I forgot about
He
that.
wanted to
Yeah.
hang out with his friends or whatever. So as
Yeah.
soon as I was like, okay,
Dumb.
he broke up with me, and so the first thing I called my friend, I'm like, you broke up with me. For me, I knew, and I had a feeling here it's not right. So
Right.
And I'm not a jealous person,
he's not.
but
He's not.
and I appreciate what she said and did.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure.
So for you to say they're not a jealous person,
Mhm.
have you ever seen a guy hit on your wife?
No, I had a guy who yelled at her once when we were on vacation in Florida, and I almost attacked him.
Well, yeah.
But but nobody that I've ever seen or witnessed hitting on or anything like that. And it's funny because I just talked to the youth about that. If some guy ever comes up to my wife, and I'm not gonna say what I said to the youth, but it was PG. So, but yeah, I'm not gonna have it.
It's raw here, she said.
Yep.
It is in
Wow,
real.
you can say
Yep,
it.
you can say it.
I take care of them. I just will leave it at that.
Well, yeah, and that's
But
that protective
yeah, sure. Yeah.
stage. And you
Mhm.
and I were kind of discussing about protecting the marriage,
Mhm.
and I know from my past experiences that guys tend to be oblivious to women. I think women are a little more forward and slyer when it
Mm.
comes to the flirting,
Okay.
and especially even if with the spouse right there. I don't know if it made us open up a new session or if we're back live. Is it a new session? So if you are joining us again, we're on. Okay.
Thank you.
We are experiencing a little technical difficulties. So thank you for joining us back on that. I'm not sure at what part that they had. Oh, just being a little unaware. Yeah, unaware of
Oblivious. Yeah.
oblivious to being flirted or hit on by women and their sly ways. women do it kind of on the low, you know, especially, and you know, I don't know if she was single mom or whatnot, you know, but I do see that, you know, quite a bit. Of course, it happens across the board, even with married women who are,
Yeah.
you know, sad, lonely in their own relationships. Um, so that's awesome. Again, you guys talk to each other about it, you
Mhm.
know, and have you ever had to, as the wife, step up and speak to the woman, or he's always been
He
able to
always
handle
cuts
it?
it off. He always
That's
handles it. Yeah,
great.
I love that about
Kudos.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
Mhm. She's
that's
like, "I
awesome.
don't like this." Okay, no problem.
Yep. I'm
And
like,
then we're done. No
yeah,
more relationship at all.
yeah, he will. He'll say, you know, if you want me and unfollow her on Facebook or delete her, you know. And I'm like, no, that's
And
cool.
it wasn't like a personal relationship we had. I was doing some technology stuff for them,
Yeah.
and that's all, I guess.
Yeah. Well, in
Not to
any
s- yeah.
space, because regardless of what it is, work,
Mhm.
you know, social gathering, PTAs,
Yep.
whatever it
Yeah, it
is, it
can be
doesn't
anything.
matter.
Sure.
You know,
Mhm.
but yeah, kudos to you
Yep.
for doing that as well. So men and women, if you're listening, protect your marriage that way.
Oh, sure.
Cut
Yeah.
it off,
Yep.
speak up.
Mhm.
Um, again, if you guys have any questions for our couple tonight, feel free to drop them in the chat. Uh, I'm just trying to look at these things to make sure we didn't freeze up again.
Okay.
So another question that I have is, let's see, we were talking about the top 5 reasons why marriages fail. Um, I'm trying to remember what other one. Oh, the communication. So far, it sounds like you guys have had awesome, honest, and open communication.
Mhm.
Um, how do you guys, you know, they always say that your spouse should be your best friend,
Mhm.
but outside of your spouse being the best friend, because you can't always, they can't be your dumping ground, that wears on the relationship. So do you guys have like accountability partners or another couple that is the trusted space to bounce issues off of when, you know, when you guys haven't really discussed it or you guys aren't on the same page? Do you guys have that going on?
Oh,
Like
we've got
support, your
yeah,
support?
we have some best friends for sure, Dave and
Like
Jenny. I mean,
Andre.
we do everything with them. We go on vacation. We've been everywhere with them, and our families. Um, we're just a big family, honestly. Like
Mhm.
all of our, I mean, our child Olivia, and then their 2 children, and our Isaiah and Faith, and our Isaiah is our godson, and Faith is our adopted goddaughter. But
Mhm.
um, yeah, I just know we're really close, and they're our best friends. We talk to each other every day, group texting. So yeah, I mean, anything that I would ever have to talk to anyone about, it would be Dave, other than Justine. And I don't
Mhm.
know,
Jenny,
Justine.
for
Yeah.
sure. She's
Hmm.
my commander. You know, I've asked her advice on raising Olivia. You know, since Olivia's been little,
Mhm.
Hmm.
she was a mom before me, and she has common sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she just knows, and you know, and she's not judgy,
Yeah.
and she's not, and she don't play. She's
Mhm.
like, you know, and they've seen us in the raw. They've seen us
Oh yeah.
when we got upset with when we get upset with each other, and you know, we're our true selves around them when we
Sure.
trust
Oh
them.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep. Hmm.
Yep, and like I was expressing to you before, you know, that is healthy to have people, just you're a very small circle, like just 1 or 2 people that you can go to that's trusted and
Hmm.
wants to see the best for both of you two, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for
Yep,
sure.
that
Yep.
accountability is,
Hmm.
you know, our God-fearing people, so I'm sure that plays a huge role
It
in
helps.
that.
Hmm.
It helps.
I mean, I think for the most part, we look out for each other. We think of each other first. We're not always self-involved, and we want everything to revolve around ourselves. We're a team. Um, and of course, yeah, we put God first, and we're youth pastors, and we're responsible to each other, but we're also responsible to our community, which is our young people, our teenagers. You know, we have to make behave ourselves outside of church, and because I feel completely responsible if I were to get a line somewhere with someone and one
Oh
of
yeah.
my students saw me acting like that or heard about it or saw it on social media, I'd be completely embarrassed, and
Right.
um, but as far as our personal relationship, we don't get tired of each other. We're with each other a lot more now that Olivia's older.
Mhm.
Our first 18 years of parenthood were 100% all about Olivia.
Mhm.
Everything revolved around her.
Mhm.
Now it's I wouldn't say refiring our candles for each other, but um, I can sense that we've gotten even closer since she's graduated. She's been in college, and she still lives at home with us, but I definitely feel we're even closer, and our relationship is stronger even after that.
I'm glad you brought that up because I know um, there's a lot of couples out there that when they have children, it is all about that child, in which
Mhm.
it should be.
Yeah.
But how did you maintain that commitment? Because people fall out of love.
Mhm.
They lose
Yeah.
sight of their partner, and then when the children leave the home, they end up divorcing
Mhm.
Right.
because they're not in love anymore, or
Yeah.
don't even know who they are. How did you guys keep that together?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I just I think that, we're home with each other or with each other more when she wasn't the center of our world. Not that she isn't, but understand what I mean.
Right.
That she's an adult and she's got her own things going on and she doesn't need us around as much anymore. She's got a wonderful, amazing young man for a boyfriend, and I trust him completely with her safety.
That's great.
Um, and so I think that's allowed us to be with each other more instead of the three of us, our small little family. That's what we call ourselves, our little family
Mhm.
of
Yeah.
three. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's given us more time to even be closer with each other. Is that
No.
what you would say?
They,
Yeah, I mean, I was. It might sound odd, but I was happy because I got to go. I get to go to the restaurants I want to go to now. Because it was always like, what does Olivia want to do, or where does
Right.
Olivia want to go, or and so but yeah, I liked it, but it was strange. It was strange in the house, like we don't have anywhere to go, we don't have anything to do. We were so used to running her to volleyball and to dance, and we had this and that and this and that, and now we had time for each other, and I'm like, we can have fun now, like,
Well,
Yeah.
in my quite, and that's great because, like you said, you're reconnecting to each other. But when she was in the house, how did you guys remain connected during that time, even though she was the center of your world? Like, did
um,
you guys make like date nights, or
yeah,
what? How did you guys keep that going
I mean,
and
we
not
would.
lose sight of each other?
Yeah, we'd go to lunch, get an hour, we'd go to lunch or whatever, and then when she got out of school, then it was, but or we would have Fridays, we would um we'd go out with Dave and Jenny, and we just go, do just go to the restaurant, or we go to Detroit, or
Mm.
so, but we'd make like a date night. We would have make time for each other,
Mhm.
and uh, Olivia's always been. We always did have the weekends to ourselves when she wasn't traveling, doing travel ball, because was always out with her friends.
Mhm.
So, but for us, it was just like a just go out to eat,
Hmm.
or just watch a movie together, or
Yep. Nothing crazy, no vacations outside, just us two, but just spending time with each other. And sometimes just that's all we need, And we don't do anything without Olivia. We go on vacation, we go somewhere, she's going with us. She's 24, but she's with
Still
us.
there. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. I mean,
awesome.
we've been to Hawaii, we've been to Puerto Rico, we've been all around the United States on vacation and stuff. And she goes everywhere with us. And
Mhm.
Dave and Jenny and their kids, they're with us too.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's how we like to roll, our whole family. So we're really close people.
That's great. And
Yeah.
Dave had logged in and he says, "Love y'all." Jenny was on.
Love you
Jenny was
too,
on
guys.
there too.
Yeah.
So again, if anybody has any questions, we're hitting our time to almost be done. But if anybody has any last minute questions, feel free to drop that in. So from you, we heard from him. What advice do you have? Or
for me, what worked for me, and I don't know if it would work for everybody else, but for me, when we first got married, I feel, and don't answer, but I felt like I was a brat. I felt like I was a brat when we first got married, and I learned that the more the years would come on, I'd ruin my day because I would get mad at little stuff that he would do to get on my nerves. And
Mhm.
I learned that he's going to keep doing them if I don't tell him that they're getting on my nerves or they're not right, you know. So I in the beginning our sessions were when we would argue, they were like, and he's never ever called me out of my name or called me any names, but we would argue, yelling, screaming, and as years went on, that stopped, and it started to where, well, I feel like this, and he'd say, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you feel like that," and I was like, "Did I say that? I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. What I meant was," and I feel like the longer you're married, it stages you learn how to communicate with each other, and even when it's a heated argument. And when we argue, if I'm like, okay, the other day I said, okay, I'm ready to talk. He goes, and I knew something was wrong. And I said, well, and I said, and I told him this, this, and this. And he goes, I can see that. And I said, and maybe I'm missing it. He goes, no, I understand totally. And so I'm not afraid to talk to him anymore. I used to be afraid to talk to him because it would be an argument, and not just on his part, but me.
Yes.
And I feel like now the things that I used to get upset, it's just not worth it. Like, it's like, okay, so he left his shoes on the floor. Just pick them up and put them away.
Right.
Instead of, you always, and we've always fought about really dumb things. Thank God it wasn't, I know other couples, it's been really serious stuff, but I've learned in stages that hold yourself accountable. Don't always stay. When we first got married, I was 23, and I felt like I was a brat. And then I learned, like, okay, you don't need to do all that, And little by little, I learned how to have an argument with him, or you don't have to say everything you're feeling.
Yeah.
And so with marriage, I think it is in stages that you need to learn to go to the next stage and the next stage and the next stage. Try to better yourself, because it can only help your marriage.
So a lot of times, and thank you for sharing that. That is very open and honest. But a lot of times, sometimes we can't even see ourselves. That's that self-awareness. What helped you to become more self-aware?
I think, honestly, and this sounds really selfish, but I would waste my days because I'm not talking to him because he did this and he did that. And he won't even say sorry, or he's saying sorry, but he's just saying sorry because he wants to get past the argument. Like,
right.
What did you say? What did you do?
Yeah. What do you even say sorry for? And he's probably like, well, I know I did something because of the way you're acting. Been there, did that.
Yeah. So I just noticed, like, we're losing days from our marriage, because I won't talk to him for 1 or 2 days because I shut down and I'm being a brat, and that's time where we could have been doing something fun, or we could have went to eat, or whatever. And so I realized that we could have been having better days, and I was just blowing the weekend, because I didn't want to talk to him, and I was upset, and so I guess it's selfish, but I noticed that that's what I was doing.
You know what that reminds me of? I love Joyce Myers and listening to her, and she talked about that she was the same way. Like she made herself miserable, focusing on negative things. And then her husband was oblivious to it. He was so laid back. He's off golfing and having a great life. And she's at home, all mad and torturing herself, So while she was going through that, and like she said, you would apologize, and then she'd be like, do you even know like what you apologize for? Like, when you knew she was going through those phases, or did you know she was going through the phases, or were you oblivious to it? Like, what was your thought process?
I think I read people pretty well. I've always done that well. I mean, I know something's wrong on it, but when I ask what's wrong and I hear nothing or nothing's wrong, well, then nothing's wrong.
Then nothing's wrong.
Then, I mean, I'm not going to push it.
That's great.
When she's ready, she's ready.
And that is the mature thing to do. I know as women, though, because I went through that brat phase that you're talking about. And I think it's that maturity, the lack of maturity, because I got married at 17.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, yeah. Real crazy. I have no issues.
Very young. Very young. Yeah.
And like I said, in going through that, that is the mature thing because I had a person who wouldn't let things go, like nitpicking,
Okay.
or
Yeah.
where I knew I needed space to get rid of
Yeah.
it
Mhm.
inside of myself first.
Mhm.
But if you're going to keep coming at me, it was a drop dead blowout, kind of thing. So
Right.
that's huge, and if you're on and listening and you're that spouse that has a hard time communicating, and you're not very self-aware, and you want your partner to pull it out of you and they're not pulling it out of you, by the grace of God, thank God that they're not pulling it out of you, because I know
Mhm.
that can be worse. But what I'm also hearing though too is, we can't expect our partners to read our minds either, and that's where, like you said, to grow and become better, that's huge.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look like we have any comments. So let's get ready to close out. But on closing,
Mhm.
is there anything else that you guys want to share?
Um, I mean, I think we've built I don't want to say just have, but we've built a wonderful marriage, a wonderful relationship. And for me, marriage is like the most important relationship aside from my relationship with God. Is the important relationship in my life. And if you're not willing to, you know, build it, repair it, fix it, work on it, then you'll never have the best marriage that is possible for you. That's how I see it, anyways. It requires maintenance sometimes. It requires a repair sometimes, but you got to spend time and do it. Just get in there and work.
And I'm glad you said that, because like you said, even though you guys still feel like you're in a honeymoon phase again, how much, even though being in that honeymoon phase, Hollywood romanticizes
Hmm.
relationships,
Mhm.
how much of percentage wise is the actual work on a daily?
For us, I don't know. I'd probably say less than 10% working on things to make them better. I mean,
Mhm.
we just get along well. It's not, to me, it's not really work anymore, or a lot less work than it ever was. We get along well. We have great days, and I don't know. It's fairly easy for us now.
Mhm.
I feel like too. I feel like he really was sent to me from God,
Amen.
because um I know that marriage is a lot of work, and I hear a lot of people, they have a tough time with marriage, but I know from when I was younger what I wanted, and I told our youth this 1,000 times. I wanted a tall white boy with dark brown hair and green eyes, and I wanted to do, like, I just,
Didn't work out, did
that's
it?
who I was. That's who I wanted. But God had somebody else in store for me.
Yes, yes.
And if I would have said, nope, nope, I want this, 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 and this, and this, and I wouldn't have listened to God, I wouldn't have got my guy that God knew was for me.
Amen. Yes.
And I did tell our kids too. I told them, I said, guys, when you are looking for somebody to get married, have that talk about children. Are you going to have children? You're not going to have
Yes.
children. And if you are going to have children, watch him, how he's with. Do kids get on his nerves? Is he annoyed? Does, if he have little brothers, sisters, does he not mind changing diapers?
Yes.
Because that's all the stuff. And I think that's why our marriage was so easy, because he didn't mind changing diapers. He didn't mind when Olivia, I had a C-section, so he was with her for first 6 weeks. He gave her all the baths. He did everything.
That's awesome.
When we cook, he does dishes for me. He gets in there with me, and or when he does that, well, then I want to do nice things back for him. I don't have to sit there. And I know some women, they do have a hard marriage because they resent their husband because he doesn't do. I'm a guy. I don't do dishes. I don't do this. I don't do that.
Yeah.
And that's I think why our marriage is so easier than it's not. It's a lot easier than other people, because that resentment sitting in there, that causes fights, and it's not fair to either couple, whoever's doing what. But I told our teens, when you are in a relationship, I said, you're also looking for the father of your children.
Yes. Yeah.
And if you got a guy who doesn't want all he wants to do is help make the baby, and that's it.
Right?
It's gonna be hard.
Yes.
And it's not fair. It's not right.
Yeah. And
So,
you'll, like I had expressed earlier, you're going to feel like a single parent in a
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
marriage.
Yeah.
And that is very hard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you brought all of that up because it's that partnership. It sounds like you guys have a wonderful partnership. And even from your dating years, like I said, you had that commitment toward her even
Mhm.
prior to being engaged, you know?
Right.
So that's huge. So everybody who's not married and is looking, like she
Yeah.
said, make sure that they're exhibiting all of those characteristics. And even as far as the communication goes, it's that from what I heard you were saying too, about being able to be open and honest and talk to him. And like you said, like, was there ever a point, because you said sometimes you felt like you couldn't talk to him right away because it would make the argument worse.
Right.
You know, it would go worse. But was there ever a time where you felt like you couldn't talk to him about anything?
I wouldn't say no. Only, I was only trying to avoid an argument.
Right.
But I've never been like afraid to bring anything up, or he's never made me feel like that. He's always been, and he said before, we might argue, we might go, but we'll get it settled and
Mhm.
it'll be done. But no, I haven't. He's never really made me feel like that.
Yeah, and I'm pretty non-confrontation. I don't like confrontation at all, whether it's with her or anyone else. I don't think she's confrontational, but she won't shy away from it.
Uh-huh.
Where me, I'll run.
So she
you know.
doesn't, what I'm hearing you say, she doesn't cause problems intentionally,
Mhm.
but she will
She'll
face
address
them.
them. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I'd
That's
rather run
awesome.
away and let's go eat,
Yep.
or something like that. But I mean, I guess that makes us good together.
Yeah,
Since
that is good.
if we're both confrontational,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
maybe. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And he's like,
Yeah, I turn my brain off. I don't think about
How
anything.
do guys do
I know.
Yeah.
that?
She's like, "What are you thinking about?" I'm like, "Nothing. I'm watching TV."
Literally nothing.
Yeah,
you know?
I don't know,
No.
what are we gonna do? What if this happens? If this happens, what if this and this? And he says, I don't know. And I'm like, but what if? And he's like, I don't know.
You got to be like, there must be something going on in there. And the guys are like, no.
Nope, not really. Yeah.
That's funny. So
Mhm.
then, if you being the laid back one and non-confrontational, because I've also had a partner, ex-husband, who liked to sweep it under the rug,
Okay.
but then it would not get addressed.
Sure.
It wasn't fixing itself.
Mhm.
How, if you were the sweeper under the rugger, how did you guys, how did you work that out
I
to make
think-
sure things got addressed?
I think the person who makes more dumb decisions in the marriage is me. So it wasn't so much I had to bring stuff up with her; it was she needed to bring stuff up with me because I was leaving the peanut butter and jelly and the milk and the bread out. Or I didn't clean my mess up. And I understand, guys, yeah, maybe we work outside the home, but we should help out at home, inside the home. If you make a mess, clean it up. You don't just leave a mess around for your wife to clean up.
Right.
And if we had an issue like that, she would bring it up. I think I was understanding. Oh, okay, I see that now. I can understand. But yeah, for me to bring stuff up with her, it wasn't much that she was doing wrong. It was more me than anyone else. Just being a guy.
Being a guy.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
if I'm hearing you correctly, I think I just heard you say the wife is always right.
Yeah, pretty much. 99%.
And on that note, that's a good spot to leave it. No, again, I heard that partnership thing there.
Yeah. Yep.
Being able to talk to each other. There's that phase. Communication is key.
Mhm.
No, it's not. Honestly, it's not. It's the understanding
Yeah.
between the two people that's key.
That's good.
Yep.
Because in my previous marriages, communication until we were blue in the face,
Mm.
but we weren't willing to understand
Sure.
and address it and
Yeah.
and face it as a team.
Mhm.
And that's what I see in you guys.
Yeah.
True partnership,
Mhm.
true team. There for each other.
Right.
So, well, thank you guys for joining
Thanks for having
us
us.
on how to build a happy marriage. And with that, we are starting the month of March, and I forgot what our next episode topic was going to be. But everybody have a good night. And again, thank you guys for joining
Thanks
us.
for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Appreciate it.
Bye.